the second 9 weeks, okay? Huh? Tomorrow. We're going to take a quiz over this, right? Yes. So it's got a little mic right there. It's a small one. Don't worry about it. Okay. So let's just remind ourselves for a second, guys, the 3 types of systems that we have.
Solution, one solution, one solution,
Okay. So if the 2 lines intersect once, that's one solution. Is that independent, dependent, or inconsistent? That's independent. Okay. How do you remember that? Yeah, they don't need each other. Okay, so what's another option? Parallel? Okay, so parallel means they have the same slope, but do they have the same y-intercept? So they have a different y-intercept, which means they never equal each other. So how many solutions do I have? So 0 solutions, independent, dependent, or inconsistent? Inconsistent. The independent and dependent are the ones that have solutions, okay? So do these have the same slope over here? No, as long as you have a different slope, then they're independent. Okay, so what's the third option? Which means the 2 lines are what? Right. Right. So they're the same line. Okay. So same slope, same y-intercept, which means infinite solutions. Good. And then what? Dependent. Okay. There are going to be questions where I'm just asking you to determine which one they are, and all you got to do is remember these, okay? Alright, so now let's start the even ones. Guys, what's the easiest way to determine whether or not they're independent, dependent, or inconsistent? Yeah, look at their y equals mx plus b, right? Okay, so do I have y solved for in this problem? Can I solve for y? So if I've got 18 equals a negative 9y minus 5x, how do you want to solve for y? Add 5x? So 5x plus 18 equals a negative 9y. What do you want to do to solve for y? Divide by a negative 9? Is this review worth a grade? Yes. So I hope that you're all working it out with me. Yes. What's wrong? Okay. Are you okay with that one? So I solved for y by adding the 5x over and then dividing by the negative 9 in front of the y. And I got a negative 5 ninths x minus 2. So my slope is a negative 5 ninths and my y-intercept is negative 2. Now what do I need to do with the second equation? No. Divide by 9? Okay, well, wait 1 second. So this is a negative 2, this is a negative 5 ninths x, and this is y. Are they the same line? Which means, how many solutions do we have? We have infinite solutions, and then what type of system do we call this? Dependent. Just, if you start from the middle, if you just start from the middle and go up and then go back down. So, up, over, and back. I mean, it's true. It's true. Alright, now let's talk about this one. It says solve by graphing, guys. I'm trying to find when these 2 lines meet by looking at their graphs, yeah? So I need to be able to graph them. That means I need to solve for y, right? And Austin's saying divide by 2. So if I've got 8 plus 12x equals 2y, I want to solve for y, so yeah, I'm going to divide by 2. So I get y equals 4 plus 6x. Now, that's kind of in a weird order, so I'll just rewrite it. Y equals 6x plus 4. Am I good? Okay, so I will graph that one in a minute. Now I'm going to talk about, or I'm going to solve this one. Negative 2y equals 2 minus 2x. What do I need to do to solve for y? Divide by the negative 2? Yep. So y equals what becomes positive? Yeah, that's a positive y. Yeah. I haven't done it yet. What's a 2 divided by a negative 2, guys? Negative 1. What's a negative 2x divided by a negative 2? A positive 1x. Just to rewrite it in order, positive x minus 1. Are y'all okay with that? Can I graph these two? Okay, so what's the y-intercept on this one? 4. So I go up to 4. Now normally I would travel up 6 and over 1. I just rearranged. Can I go up 6 and over 1? I don't feel like I have enough room. So I'm going to go down 6 and to the left 1. Instead of going to the right and up, or up and to the right, I'm going to go down and to the left. So down 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and over 1. I can't go any more. There's not enough space, so I'll just connect my points and call it good. Okay, now I need to graph what? This other equation. What's the y-intercept? Negative 1. So what's the slope? Okay, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, or down 1 to the left 1. So what does that mean? Okay, you're saying that they intersect at negative 1, negative 2. Is that my answer? Yeah, you have to write down your answer as that coordinate point, okay? Okay, we're talking about probably 5 points here. Solving for y, graphing, graphing, and answer. Sir. No. This right here is the y-intercept, negative 1. The slope is a positive 1. So up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. We good? Okay, now let's talk about this one. Now guys, let's talk about 6. It says solve by graphing, yeah? Okay, so if I go here and I want to graph these two equations, because I didn't give you a graph, so I assume that we're going to do it on the calculator. So I'm going to type in a negative 1/2 x minus 1 and a negative 1/2 x minus 4. I'm going to go zoom 6. Okay, so let me go through those steps again. I went to y equals, which is, if you're on your screen, it's that first button. Yeah? On your calculator? Okay, and then I went to, in y1 I put this, in y2 I put that, and then I go to zoom 6 just to have a good window. Now when I go to zoom 6 I see this. What do you notice about these two lines? They're parallel. They're parallel, and I could have looked at that I could have known that just by doing this. So no solution? Okay? Are we okay with that? Okay. Now I want to do the same thing on number 8, except for what do I not have by themselves? Y. So what do I need to do? What do I need to do then? Good, I need to solve for y. Okay, so how do I solve for y here? I think I'm going to subtract the 4x. You okay with that? Good. Okay, I want to solve for y. What do I need to do? Divide by negative 3. So I've got y equals, what's a negative divided by negative? So 4/3 x minus, 18. Okay, so there's one equation. Now I need to solve this equation, right? So how do I get y by itself? Shall we subtract 4x again? It's just in this case, negative 15y equals a negative 4x plus 30. Okay, what do I need to do? Divide by what? Negative 15? So y equals a positive 4/15 x minus 2. Guys, what am I going to do with these two equations? Okay, I need to graph in y equals. So I'm going to go to my calculator. Y equals, clear, 4 divided by 15x minus 2. Oop, I forgot my x. And then 4 divided by 3x minus 18. Where are you lost? Have you got the two equations? Then do it. Are you with me now? So I graph them in y equals, right? I go to y equals and I type in each equation. Now if I press graph, I don't see the intersection. Zoom out. What'd you say? Okay, so if you know how to change the window, you could just change your X max until you can see it. Or you can just go to zoom out to number 3. Now when you do zoom out, guys, notice how it says x equals 0, y equals 0. It's asking for where you want the center to be. I'm just going to press enter and call it good. So when you press zoom out, you have to then press enter after saying enter on zoom out. And then now I see this. Can I see the intersection? There is one solution. How do I find it? So I go to second, trace, or calc, which is what I'm trying to do, calculate the intersection. And then I go to number what? Number 5. So number 5. How many times did I press enter? 1, 2, I don't want to guess, so enter. 3. So I press enter 3 times, and I get the answer, which is the coordinate point. And there you go. It does matter. This is the only order that matters, X and Y. Okay. All right. Now this, what does this say? Solved by what? Substitution. Do y'all remember how to do substitution? Yep. Okay. Now let's talk for a second, guys. Look at number 9. Wasn't one of the variables already by itself on number 9? So all I had to do was, take the negative 3x plus 5 and plug it in. Okay. So are one of the variables alone right now? On number 10? No, but can I get one alone? What is the easiest one to solve for, guys? The bottom one, x or y? Whoa. Do you want to solve for x or solve for y? Guys, substitution. You have to plug in an expression. This has a coefficient of 1, which makes it the more appealing one to solve for. How do I solve for x? Guys, substitution is getting one variable by itself. I don't care which variable, and substituting in. Isn't it easier to solve for x just by adding 2y instead of solving for y by subtracting x and dividing by negative 2? So, x equals 2y minus 2. So I have one variable by itself. Always look for the one that has a coefficient of 1. It's much easier. Now guys, substitution means I take this and I substitute it in for what? For x into the other equation, right? So here's what I've got. A negative 7, but instead of x, I'm going to rewrite it as what? 2y minus 2. So that is my x, and then I carry on the equation. Plus 8y equals a negative 16. Now that is an equation that only has y's in it, so I can solve. What are you going to do with that negative 7? So negative 14y. What's a negative 7 times a negative 2? Positive 14 plus 8y equals a negative 16. Guys, since these are on the same side of the equation, do I have to like subtract 8 or add 14y to get it over here? No, you just combine them. What is a negative 14 and a positive 8? Caitlin's saying it's a negative 6. Y'all okay with that? So I've got a negative 6y plus 14 equals a negative 16. What am I going to do? Subtract 14? Okay, so I'm going to add 14. Subtract 14, I mean. So negative 6y equals a negative 30. So then divide by? So y equals 5. Am I done? Now that I know what y equals, I need to find what? I need to find x. Where do I go? Yeah, it'd be easiest to just go right here. If y equals 5, then x equals 2 times 5 minus 2. What's 2 times 5? 10 minus 2? And there's my answer. Okay? Are we okay? Well, we'll do it one more time and see if you're not lost again, okay? Okay, guys, let's talk about this for a second. On number 11, if I were doing substitution, which I will be, we're not going to work it out together, but guys, which variable would you solve for? Wouldn't either one of these x's or y's be okay? Because they have a coefficient of what? Of 1, which makes them easy. Now let's talk about 12. Do any of these have a coefficient of 1? No. That makes it really ugly. But what do I notice? What goes into both 15 and into all three? 15, 24, and 18. So if I divide this whole equation by 3, what am I left with? What do you notice about this and this? They're exactly the same. So do I need to solve it, or do I already know the answer? Infinite solutions. Okay. I'm probably not going to put one on there with substitution where you have to recognize that you have to be able to do that without solving, without being able to do substitution. So if there's one that has infinite solutions, then you would be able to do substitution. And you would know that it has infinite solutions if you get something like 2 equals 2. You know what I mean? So that would be infinite. But what if you got 2 equals 0? Then you would say no solution. Okay? Alright, so let's talk about 14. Now, this is elimination. Do y'all remember elimination? Right, I need the equations to I need a variable to cancel out. So we pick. Do you want to cancel out the x or cancel out the y? Okay, I don't really care. Let's talk about both. If I want to cancel out the y, the only thing I need to make is this a positive 8y, right? So I could just multiply the bottom equation by 8. Now, Austin, you said x, right? What would I need to multiply negative 3x by to get a negative 9? So I could just multiply the bottom equation by 3, and then the x's will cancel out. So since more people said y, we'll go with y, but it really doesn't matter. I have a negative 8. I need a positive 8, so I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by 8. Now when I do that, I get 9x minus 8y equals a negative 22. And then what about the bottom equation? When I multiply by 8, what do I get? What do I get?
Sorry, negative 24x plus 6y equals negative 8.
Okay, so the idea was to cancel out the y's, right?
I still know how you do that. Oh, cancel out.
So I can solve for x. What's 9 minus 24?
9 minus 24.
Negative 15x. What's negative 22 and negative 8? So what do I do? By? So x equals 2. Am I done? I still gotta find y, right? So what do I do? Which equation? Okay, does it matter? Okay, so I'm gonna plug it into the bottom equation. So negative 3 times 2 plus y equals a negative 1. What's a negative 3 times 2? Negative 6. So how do I solve for y? Add 6. What is a negative 1 plus 6? So how do I write my answer? X is 2, y is 5. There you go. Can I just mention something right quick, guys? If I ask you to solve this using elimination, couldn't you go ahead and do the matrix on here just to find your answer right quick, just to make sure you got it right? Okay, don't forget. You can't use your matrices. Okay, elimination. Alright, I'm looking at the x's and I'm looking at the y's. Which one do you want to cancel out? Which one would probably be easier to cancel out? The x's? Okay, so what about 5 and 7 go into? 35. So what would you have to multiply the top by? 7. And the bottom by? Why don't I need to multiply one of them by a negative? One of them is already negative and one of them is positive, so I'm good in that respect. Okay, so what is a 7 times 5? What's a 7 times 15? What's 7 times 20? Okay, so I did the first equation. Now I'm going to multiply the second equation by what? By 5. So what's 5 times negative 7? What is 5 times negative 21? Negative 105? What is 5 times a negative 28? Negative 140? What happens to everything? Everything? Are you sure? Because I feel like it's 0 equals 0. Infinite solutions. Let's just talk it out right quick. If I look at 15, oh, I want to work 15 with you guys because I worked it with substitution on last period, forgetting. So let's go ahead and work 15 together. Okay, what do you want to cancel out, the x's or the y's? The x's? Okay, what about 2 and 7 go into? Alright, so I would need to multiply the top by 7 and the bottom by? Okay, good. I need one of them to change to a positive number, right? So let's distribute the 7. What's 7 times negative 2x? Negative 14x. What's 7 times negative 8? Negative 56y. And 7 times 6 is 112. 16, sorry. Okay. Now what am I going to distribute? The negative 2. What's a negative 2 times a negative 7? What's a negative 2 times a negative 28? What's a negative 2 times 21? A negative 42? Do they? All of them? So does 0 equal 70? Okay. just looking at 13, do I need to do anything to 13 to make them cancel out? The x's already cancel out, right? So I could just add. Okay. All right, so let's talk about number 18. I want to solve using a matrice, right? Okay, so do y'all remember what to do? Now, the first thing I'm going to want you to write down for these problems to show your work is you just write down the matrix that you enter. So what numbers would we enter? So if you weren't here yesterday, then this is what we did. We'll write down everything, and then hopefully if you look at the notes from yesterday, you'll be okay. So negative 15, 8 and 3, negative 5, 1. So we're writing down the coefficients of the numbers, right? Now, what I want to do is I want to use my calculator to solve this matrix, right? So, do you remember how I do that? Do y'all remember how I do that? Second matrix, go over to math. Okay, so I'm going to write down all the steps, but I need you to be doing it with me or paying attention at least, okay? So second matrix is right here. Okay, so second matrix. I'm going to go over to math, and then go up to RREF, right? So I did second matrix over to math, up to RREF. And then I press enter. Oop, just kidding. Okay, so then your screen should look like this, right? Now, what do I need to put in there? The matrix, right? So now I go to alpha, zoom. If I go to alpha zoom, guys, right now it says a 3x4. Do we have a 3x4? We have a what? We have 2 rows, 3 columns. And if you just, guys, if you just press enter and it doesn't match what you have, then you know you did it wrong. You know what I mean? Basically what I'm saying is, what if you did a 3x2? Wouldn't it look wrong? Oh, good Lord. Okay. That's good. Okay, so alpha zoom, 2x3. Okay, what do I put in there, guys? Okay, all I need to do is go to the right every time I type in a number, right? Go to the right, 8. Go to the right, 3. Go to the right, negative 5. Go to the right, 1, and negative 9. I press enter. Now, I don't have to write this matrix out. I'm going to write it out for the benefit of the people that weren't here. That means 1x plus 0 y's, which means it's not there, equals 3, right? And that means 0x plus 1y equals 6. So doesn't that mean x equals 3 and y equals 6? So what is my answer? 3, 6. Okay? Okay. Now let's talk about 20 and 22. Okay, so I need to write down the matrix that I'm going to enter, right? Okay, so it's looking like I have an x, and a y, and a z. So if I have an x, a y, and a z column, and then the answer, or the equal sign, right? Yeah. So what numbers do I put in? Okay, do I have an x here? So I put a 0. Do I have a y? And then, okay. No x. Perfect. Tomorrow. But it's just over these 4 topics. So graphing, substitution, elimination, and matrix. I'm hoping it will be. Okay. Okay, so I've got my matrix written down. How do I enter it? I go to second matrix, over to math, RREF. Kara and Will, are y'all good with that so far? Okay, where are you at right now? Okay, good. So you're right there, right? Now, how do I, guys, tell her how to enter in the matrix? Alpha, zoom. Now, guys, how many rows does this have? I have 3 rows, and I have 4 columns. Do you remember do you know how to remember the columns are up and down? Like if you have like columns in a building, you know they're the long things. Okay, they go up and down. So the columns would be 4. Huh? Yeah. Okay, so I got to enter my numbers: 0, 2, -3, 6, 6, 1, -1, -4, 0, 6, -2, 4. Alright, I've got 1x plus 0y plus 0z. So what does x equal? -1. What does y equal? What's y equal, guys? Y equals 0. Is that okay? Yeah, it's fine. What's z equal? -2. And that is my answer. Okay, so remember this is an order. 1x plus 0y plus 0z equals -1, so x equals -1. 0x plus 1y plus 0z. Does that make sense? Okay. That's called row reduced echelon form, which is why it's called RREF. Okay, so as far as like the matrix goes, what numbers? -7, -6. Okay, so let's do it one more time. How do I get in there? Second matrix, over to math, right? Up to RREF. How do I get the matrix in there? Alpha zoom. It's a 3x4, so I press enter, and I enter in my numbers, right? 5, 6, -1, 21, -7, -6, -1, 16, 3, 6, -3, and 30. Okay, now, what do I notice about the bottom row? Right, I have 1x plus 1y equals 0, or 1z, 1y plus minus 1z equals 0, and 0 plus 0 plus 0 equals 1. Does 0 equal 1? No. Okay, so this is a no solution. Now, let's just remind ourselves, if you get a matrix, and you have something up in this row, something up in this row, and then you get 0, 0, 0, 0, what does that mean? That means 0 equals 0. Is that true? Okay, infinite solutions. But if you get 0, 0, 0, and then a number, 0 does not equal 3, so that is no solutions. Can it also happen on just a 2x3? 0, 0, 4? That would mean 0x plus 0y equals 4, and 0 does not equal 4. Okay, so you have to remember. Okay, so like I said, those are the evens in 15, and the odds are going to be online. That's it. Oh well.